You guys are probably wondering why I'm sitting out in the concrete in the hot sun as early as 8:50 in the morning outside of Universal Studios. Well, I'm here to talk about one simple thing. Coasters. Universal has many unique coasters, some that are very simple, some that are intense, and some that are even well themed. Especially talking about this one. It's literally got a unicorn. But there's one coaster that stands out in Universal's history, and it probably stood out as probably one of the best landmarks in the theme park. With a coaster that reaches up to 65 miles per hour and a height of 167 feet, I have to present to you Rip Ride Rockit. And so today is actually the first day that it's officially closed, and it's kind of bittersweet. I didn't get to ride it, and honestly, I still think about it to this day. I don't cry about it or anything, but I also have a really good joke if you guys want to hear it. What did they say when Rip Ride Rockit closed? They said, Rip Ride Rockit. I feel like they inserted like a little audience laughter track in the background after that. Anyways, let's go over the history. So Rip Ride Rockit actually opened on August 19th of 2009, and the ride was manufactured by Morris Sonheng instead of Premier and B&M due to them just being back ordered and Universal wanting something a little quick to meet their schedule, which honestly I kind of don't blame them. Time is money, and that means something. But honestly, this would just end up being somewhat of a mistake for them in the future in the long run. But obviously I'm getting way too ahead of myself. So let's start off with some facts. The coaster stands out with its non-inverting loop and the ability for riders to select their music from a touchscreen on the lap bar. Oh, how far technology has come. And it features a 167-foot tall lift hill and a top speed of 65 miles per hour. Now, that may not sound like a whole bunch to you guys, but that's actually some pretty insane stuff back then. Especially now, it's not that big of a deal since you got Velocicoaster right next door, which awesome ride, but that's pretty much all I have to say about it. So what you see behind me is like the concert stage in front of Rip Ride Rockit. So with that, we're gonna start off by talking about the song selection. The ride basically offered 5 different categories. I'm just gonna read it off because I can't even read it off normally. I just don't have that memory. It was divided into 5 genres: country, pop disco, classic rock metal, rap/hip hop, and club/electronica. Whatever electronica means, because I've actually never heard of that in my life. But if you guys know what it is, please leave down in the comments. Now, what's a big bummer is that the new list basically only features 1 song now per genre, besides something else that I'm going to explain a little bit later. But I'm going to read it off as well. You had Welcome to the Black Parade by My Chemical Romance, which, oh my god, goated. That was probably like my favorite song to play on that. Waterloo by ABBA. Man, I Feel Like a Woman by Shania Twain. Did I say that right? Humble by Kendrick Lamar, also another banger. And Sandstorm, which I don't have the artist written down, but that's okay. I'll probably put it up somewhere here. Now, obviously, Universal stated these changes mostly due for one reason and one reason only: money. And because, money rules the world, am I right? Especially this one. Money. That's the globe. I gotta stop with these jokes, man. But basically, since there were a whole bunch of licensing costs with owning that much, music, they obviously had to pay a big fee. And I just feel like they just got tired of it and didn't want to pay any more of that. So, they just ended up cutting it. Now, while the main playlist was reduced, there were also hidden tracks that can be found using the selection key and typing in like a specific number, which, if you guys didn't know, they actually had Rainbow Connection on the Muppets, which I was going to plan on doing if I wrote it one last time. Sadly, I didn't, but that actually would have been sick. A Disney property at Universal, like, are you kidding me? But anyways, besides that, there were secret songs, sneaky sneaky. And this left a sour taste for the most important people for Universal, that being the fans. So the ride would honestly experience technical issues since its opening, including problems with the onboard audio system and slower than expected load times, which caused long wait times in general. And so in September 2010, the ride was temporarily closed due to concerns about the coupling bars that hold the trains together, and these bars were just not deemed fatigue endurable. But the ride ended up opening on October 28, 2010, with refurbished trains to address those issues, which honestly, good on them. And the ride's complex design and age contributed to high maintenance costs overall, and honestly just frequent repairs. And we know Universal loves their money, which is what I think led to the overall closure of the ride, and bringing in relevant IPs into the park. I'm literally looking at you, Ghostbusters. Come on, what you doing? But now with that history lesson out of the way, let's go on and celebrate Rip Ride Rockit one more time. Actually, I actually can't even get in there. Obviously the barricade's already up, but that's okay because we're gonna go back in time and look at the pre-recorded footage that I took of yesterday's closure. So I kind of made a mistake of sitting down here. It's literally wet, but it's honestly too late to change. So yesterday they started giving out like these little guitar picks, which is awesome for the people riding it on the last day. And on top of that, they had these special characters from the queue line up for a little small meet and greet. And because there was a weather delay, they still had them interact inside where the locker rooms are. So, even if you weren't able to make the line for the ride, I was actually able to go inside, look at the lockers one last time. And that's kind of weird saying that you're gonna look at the lockers because they're lockers. But either way, it was kind of sentimental looking at those lockers. On top of that, they also ran out of the t-shirts around 2 weeks ago. So I'm sad I didn't get one, but that kind of just what happens when I procrastinate, which honestly, I miss out a lot of stuff. But also they were giving out free wristbands for the final ride of Rip Ride Rockit later that night, which was pretty awesome. Now, there are actually 3 things that I plan to do for the last day of Rip Ride Rockit, but sadly, weather delay, I couldn't do it. Number 1 being ride Rip Ride Rockit. Not gonna happen. 2, capture a video of me on Rip Ride Rockit. You guys didn't know you could also buy a video of you riding it, but also not gonna happen. And 3, reminisce about the good old days, which, thinking about it now, what better way to go through a funeral than, going through the grieving process, which I think about it, it's kind of depressing, but it's normal. All right, so you guys get ready because it is gonna get vulnerable right now. And if you guys don't want to hear my own vulnerable personal story about Rip Ride Rockit, well, you could just click off. And thank you guys for watching. Have a good day. But I do want to start off by saying that when it was first announced and when I first saw this coaster at the age of, what was I, like 7? I don't remember. It was scary. That lift hill, terrifying. I was just scared of coasters in general at that time. And I remember even crying with some of my friends because I didn't want to ride it. I was trying to make any excuse not to ride it. And, now that I think about it, it's kind of like a love and hate relationship with Rip Ride Rockit. I feel like, most people, they either hate it and they stick with it, or they love it and they stick with it. But I feel like I hated it and then learned to love it. And it's probably become one of the best experiences coaster-wise. It was my first big coaster, too. So it's pretty surreal that it's actually leaving now, and I'm gonna miss it. I'm actually not gonna try to get teary-eyed right now because it's a freaking roller coaster, but it was one of the most special rides, and I have very fond memories of, especially with my friends. It's one of the first rides we always ride on during an Orlando Informer meetup and during Halloween Horror Night sometimes. So just seeing it just not be there, it's weird. A very weird experience not seeing it anymore and not being able to ride it for the last time. It's heartbreaking, but life gets in the way. You gotta go to work. You can't just quit the job just to go to a roller coaster. I wish I could, but that's just not the case for a lot of people. And I should have done it earlier. That's my fault. I procrastinated. I didn't get the farewell t-shirt. It kind of sucks, but it is what it is, And I feel like this year, especially with all the ride closures, this is probably one of the last closures for the year, besides maybe Dinosaur. I think that's the beginning of next year. I don't quite remember. But yeah, with the loss of the Muppets, the loss of A Bug's Life, so many childhood attractions just leaving, and this being like basically the final nail in the coffin for me. It's pretty sad. But at least I'll have the memory of me riding Rip Ride Rockit one last time with my friends, and I think that's very special. You just gotta cherish. You never know when the ride might be your last time riding it. I don't think anyone ever mentions that before in any video at all. you know, thinking that that's going to be your last ride. It's crazy. It's like that's the last time you're going to talk to a person before. You know what? That's kind of dark. Let me not talk about that. But yeah, I'm just going to be rambling on about how much I love a coaster. I just got cut off. And, just rambling on about loving a coaster. But that's just who I am. I like theme parks. I like coasters. That's just the whole deal. If you guys enjoy that video, please consider liking, leaving a comment, especially if you love the roller coaster, and just subscribing. It really helps out the channel, and hopefully changing up my content a little bit and doing a little bit more videos that I'm more passionate about, instead of just dabbling into what other creators are already doing. And that's about it. I don't want to talk too much because I feel like you guys are getting annoyed about me, but I'll see you guys on the next one.